Chapter 1479, Elder Cabinet 3. When Jiang Lang and Mo's daughter were just born, the domain monarch sensed the incubating variant heavenly demon bloodline in her body. However, this matter was not made public, and extremely few people in the Jiang family knew about it. The domain monarch originally intended for the cabinet elders to check the child's endowments, but an accident happened unexpectedly, and the child was lost. The domain monarch was infuriated over this matter and secretly sent people to search for the child's location without divulging the variant heavenly demon bloodline in the child. When she returns from the land of infinite demons, bring her to the elder cabinet. I will look at her condition with other cabinet elders. The variant heavenly demon bloodline is too rare. If there's still a chance for reversal, we can invest our efforts on that child, the cabinet elders said seriously. Elder Su nodded lightly. The cabinet elders paid most attention to the endowments of the juniors in the Jiang family and almost never interfered in other matters. A few days later, it was the day for the selected members of the Jiang family to head to the land of infinite demons. Everyone finished packing and was ready to set off in the morning. Before they left, Mo placed a talisman in Yi Qingtang's hand. She brought that talisman from her ancient dynasty clan and had been using it as life protection as she had not returned to her clan for a long time since her marriage. Although Jiang Sun was going along this time, Mo was still worried and only reluctantly watched Yi Qingtang leave after warning her for a long time. About a few dozen people from the Jiang family headed to the land of infinite demons this time, including Yu. Apart from Jiang Qin, Jiang Shun, and the people who Yi Qingtang had seen before, there were still some clan members of the Jiang family who she had never seen before who were also headed there. In the group, one youth stood out especially. He was the last to appear. Donned in white clothes, he had an aloof expression and striking features, but there was a distant aura to him. That is Jiang Qi. Jiang Sun whispered to Yi Qingtang after sensing that Yu's aura. Jiang Qi? Yi Qingtang blanked out slightly at the sight of that familiar youth. In her previous life, after Yi Qingtang arrived in the central mainland, many people were after her life as her heart of the demon god was exposed. The Jiang family also sent many people to take Yi Qingtang's life as well, and in a certain pursuit, she was cornered into a desperate situation. Then, she met this youth called Jiang Qi after she barely escaped. Jiang Qi was already well known in this mainland at that time, and his skills were so formidable and superior to similar age counterparts. Yi Qingtang knew that he was from the Jiang family and originally thought that she would die. Unexpectedly, Jiang Qi looked at her indifferently and walked away as though he never noticed her. Yi Qingtang escaped from death that time. Compared to that time in her previous life, Jiang Qi was now younger, but his indifference was exactly the same. Jiang Qi stood aside silently in a supercilious manner as though everyone around him did not exist. Rather, many gazes gradually landed on him. "Aunt Qin, that person is..." You also noticed Jiang Qi. She had been in the Jiang family for such a long time, but never met Jiang Qi before. Jiang Qin took a look and murmured, "That is Jiang Qi of the Elder Cabinet." Elder Cabinet. After Yu entered the Jiang family, she did hear rumors about the Elder Cabinet too, but you two could be personally chosen by the Cabinet Elders to enter the Elder Cabinet to cultivate were all top talents of the Jiang family. Chapter 1480, All-Pervading Demonic Air 1. Furthermore, the cultivation conditions in the Elder Cabinet were the best in the Jiang family. Anyone produced from the Elder Cabinet was a top expert of the Jiang family and was simply incomparable with other youths in the Jiang family, like Jiang Yiming. Ambition emerged in Yi Yu's eyes. If she could enter the Elder Cabinet to cultivate. Aunt Qin, are all of the people who can enter the Elder Cabinet very powerful? Those like me probably will not have a chance in this lifetime, right? Yi Yu muttered as though she was aggrieved. Seeing Yi Yu's expression, Jiang Qin immediately persuaded, "You, there's no need for self-pity. Those who can enter the Elder Cabinet to cultivate were personally selected by the Cabinet Elders since young and have always been training there. You are pretty talented. If you were born in the Jiang family, you would definitely be selected to enter the Elder Cabinet. It's just a pity, but you don't need to worry. Since you're back, I will naturally fight for the best cultivation opportunities for you. Jiangxin always felt that Yi Yu had good endowments, since she could cultivate to such a state even when she was in the lacking first mainland before. If she was in the Jiang family from the start, perhaps she could have entered the Elder Cabinet and reached a much higher cultivation realm than Jiang Yiming now. Aunt Qin, I just think that you're too nice to me. I want to become powerful sooner, so I can protect you in the future too. Yi Yu said gently, though a hint of coldness flashed across her eyes discreetly when she spotted Yi Qingtang from the corner of her eyes. The apology from that day was like a thorn buried in Yi Yu's heart. She would not easily forget that humiliation. Jiangxin was gratified at Yi Yu's obedience. Sensing Yi Yu's line of sight, Jiangxin could not help but sneer when she saw Yi Qingtang aside. You don't worry. I definitely will not let Yi Qingtang make it out of the land of infinite demons alive. Yi Yu nodded obediently and looked down to sweep away the expression in her eyes. Aunt Qin, Yi Qingtang will not be able to enter the Elder Cabinet as well, right? Yi Yu asked suddenly. Yi Yu's endowments were considered pretty great, but her initial spirit root was inferior. Thus, she stole Yi Qingtang's spirit root. If not for the support of that spirit root, it was simply impossible for her cultivation realm to increase so rapidly. Jiangxin scoffed. Her? She's just a useless person who does not have a spirit root. Although a spirit root is not required in the central mainland, every youth selected by the Elder Cabinet is the finest talent. Since she is already missing a spirit root, how can she be selected by the Elder Cabinet? Yi Yu beamed and did not say anything else. Very soon, the Jiang family troops were about to set off. With Jiang Shangyu leading the troop at the front, the mighty troops left the Jiang residence rapidly. Beta Demon Lord was not part of the Jiang family and could not tag along. Fortunately, most of his injuries were already healed. It was unknown when Yi Qingtang would return from this trip, and it was inappropriate for him to stay in the Jiang residence for long. He bade farewell to Yi Qingtang before she departed, and then left the Jiang residence in search of a good location to cultivate with that bone of the dragon breath. This farewell was a turning point for the Beta Demon Lord. With the bone of the dragon breath, he had a greater opportunity than last time. The next time they meet, he would become the majestic and renowned talent of the demon clan as last time and would obtain his deserving title of the Beta Demon Lord. As the carriage moved, Yi Qingtang watched Beta Demon Lord leave gradually with a slight smile. Chapter 1481, All-Pervading Demonic Air to the Land of Infinite Demons, was situated in a concealed area in the central mainland. That area was surrounded by mountains where the continuous cliffs went on forever, and there was no sight of the end. The entrance to the land of infinite demons was in between a steep canyon. Although there was a distance to the land of infinite demons, there was already an all-pervading demonic air at the canyon. Withered grass filled the surroundings, and ordinary plants simply could not survive when blanketed with a strong demonic air. In the canyon, corpses were aplenty and scattered among the rocks. The land of infinite demons was not just a place for exploration to the various human clans. Even other alien clans like the demonic creatures and great demons would enter this place as well. Once anyone entered the land of infinite demons' boundary, life and death were no longer what one could control. Over the millions of years, countless ghosts had died unjustly in the land of infinite demons. At the entrance to the land of infinite demons, a thick fog enveloped the entire forest, and the visible areas of the seemingly endless forest were very limited in the fog. Everyone stood at the entrance, and before entering, a suffocating demonic air at the boundary of the land of infinite demons diffused outward continuously. That demonic air was mixed with a bone-piercing chill, and one could not help but shudder as it was blown along with the wind. Jiang Shangyu stood in front of everyone. As conceited as he was also extremely cautious in the face of the land of infinite demons. When his gaze passed by the entrance, he realized that there was an evident trace of wreckage in the forest at the entrance. The big patch of grass seemed to be flattened by something, and the ground was in shambles. Decomposed flesh could be faintly seen under the fallen trees, and even the bones seemed to be stomped into shattered pieces as they were mashed together with the flesh. The smell of decomposed flesh combined in the demonic air was nauseating. Fifth great-uncle. This is Jiang Shun had been to the land of infinite demons before as well, and since the abnormality of the entrance. He instinctively looked at Jiang Shanyu carefully. A month ago, the great demon of the frosty snow mountains was near the end of its lifespan. Someone once saw it heading toward the land of infinite demons. Looking at the situation, it should have entered the land of infinite demons. Jiang Shanyu scanned the haphazard ground. When a great demon was about to die, it would instinctively head to the land of infinite demons to lay down its life. No one knew why they had such a habit either. They only knew that great demons would definitely bring piles of treasures along with them to the land of infinite demons. The reason why the Jiang family decided to enter the land of infinite demons at this time was that it heard of this news. The great demon of the frosty snow mountains. It's actually at the end of its lifespan? Jiang Qin was slightly stunned. The frosty snow mountains was rich in snow rasher mushroom, a supreme great herb. However, that area was dominated by that great demon, and many family clans who wanted to pick the snow rasher mushroom died in the hands of that great demon. Even when many family clans joined forces to invite skilled masters to kill it by offering a hefty reward, no one dared to take on the challenge. It was rumored that that great demon could swallow millions of people at a time, and that its metal body and bones could not be penetrated. That's it. Jiang Shanyu nodded lightly. Everyone's eyes lit up. I wonder if that great demon entered the forbidden demon area, Jiang Shun said. The land of infinite demons was extremely dangerous, but there was another such forbidden area in the land of infinite demons, known as the Forbidden Demon Area. If someone in the land of infinite demons had a 10% chance of survival, it was a hopeless zone with 0 chance of survival. Chapter 1482, All-Pervading Demonic Air. 2. Even in all these years, numerous powerful figures entered the land of infinite demons, but no one dared to enter the Forbidden Demon Area easily. It was rumored that a powerful figure in the Holy Venerate realm entered the Forbidden Demon Area forcefully to explore the place, but there was no more news of them afterward. When powerful figures from the second domain invaded back then, many highly skilled experts were sent to enter it too, but eventually no one made it out alive. That place was the true Forbidden Area, and before entering the land of infinite demons, various ancient clans would specially warn the clan members to not go near there. Probably not, but we still need to go in and take a look. The news of that great demon came a month ago, and it should already be dead now. That great demon's flesh and bones are rare treasures. It's best if we can obtain it before it decomposes, Jiang Shanyu said in a deep voice. Everyone was on full alert when they heard him. Even if the great demon had already decomposed, the funerary objects buried with him were also massive treasures. You all must be cautious after entering the land of infinite demons. The plants inside are very poisonous. Don't blame anyone else if you die inside if you ignore my commands and act on your own, Jiang Shanyu said coldly. After entering the land of infinite demons, even he would not be able to ensure the safety of others if anyone messed about. Everyone nodded successively. Jiang Qin's gaze passed Yi Qingtang, and she scoffed in her heart. The key was to find that great demon's corpse as quickly as possible. Anyway, Yi Qingtang would definitely die as long as she entered the land of infinite demons, and there was no hurry to get rid of her at this instant. Under Jiang Shangyu's lead, everyone entered the land of infinite demons. As they walked into the thin fog, the visibility was greatly reduced to less than a few meters. Thankfully, the visibility could only be increased by focusing their spirit energy to their eyes. Apart from the dangerous creatures in the land of infinite demons, even the demonic air in the air carried strong poison. If one's skills were not sufficient, One's internal organs would be destroyed by the poison just by taking a sniff of it. Yi Qingtang was only at the arcane supremacy 8th heaven realm, which was basically the lowest in the Jiang family troops. Jiang Sun feared that Yi Qingtang would not be able to withstand this poison, and specially told her to consume a poison avoidance pill before they entered. Despite so, when that air entered her lungs, Yi Qingtang still felt that her throat seemed to be burned by something and had a sharp pain. "Tang Tang, you must follow me closely," Jiang Sun said softly. Yi Qingtang nodded, and the little white tiger rested on her arm obediently this time as well. Fuck. There really is a lot of good stuff inside. The little white tiger used its nose. Its sense of smell was way better than humans, and it already smelled a strong odor the moment they entered the outer boundary of the land of infinite demons. In this dense, foggy forest, no one knew how many frightening things were lurking around in the dark. Everyone moved carefully, but the withered grass beneath their feet seemed to be covered in a soft and sticky substance that seeped out through the gaps of the grass when a slight force was applied. Yi Qingtang looked down and realized that the substance that seeped out was a maroon liquid with a strong smell of blood. That was the liquid produced after a corpse decomposed. Chapter 1483. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind one. The forest in this area had almost been trampled flat, and the ground was in ruins. Along the way, Yi Qingtang and the others discovered the half-decomposed corpse of a small demon. Although it was a small demon, demons grew up to 5 or 6 meters high. Half of its body was terribly mangled, as if it had been flattened by something. It's the small demon that accompanies that big demon from the frosty snow mountains. Jiang Shangyu paused to look at the half-decomposed corpse of the small demon. Most of the dominant big demons were accompanied by small demons. When the big demon in the frosty snow mountain headed for the land of infinite demons, hundreds of small demons accompanied it. They had formed formidable troops, which carried the big demon in a demon sedan. From the looks of it, the small demon's body had been crushed by the big demon's foot as they advanced. The big demon's body should be somewhere nearby, Jiang Shangyu said as he looked up. Everyone was on high alert. The big demon had died recently, and its flesh had not yet begun to decay. This was a rare treasure. It would be great if they could find it quickly. Jiang Shangyu's steps quickened. But after the group from the Jiang family walked for a while, they suddenly heard the sounds of an intense fight coming from the thick mist ahead. All they could see was a large swamp with nearly 100 figures involved in an intense fight. They were in the thick of the fight, but about 100 meters behind them, a huge black figure, as large as a mountain, could vaguely be seen lying motionlessly on the ground. The swamp had drowned many of the small demons' corpses. The small demons looked similar to those that Yi Qingtang and the others had encountered along the way. But now, these small demons were all dead and were slowly being engulfed by the swamp. When big demons entered the land of infinite demons, they usually brought along a horde of small demons. After they sent their treasure into the land of infinite demons, they would kill all the small demons almost as if to provide themselves with grave goods. Are those from the Cloud Valley clan and the Southern Peak clan? Jiang Sun squinted at the two sides that were embroiled in battle. He could identify them from their clothing. The Cloud Valley clan and the Southern Peak clan were both reclusive ancient clans of Central Mainland. However, both of them were very powerful and were two of the few ancient clans that were able to enter the land of infinite demons. These two ancient clans were on par in terms of power, but usually minded their own business. However, they had somehow started fighting in the land of infinite demons. The Jiang family members were no fools. When they saw the corpses of the small demons and the huge black figure lying on the ground, they knew what was going on. The black figure was certainly the big demon from the frosty snow mountains. The two ancient clans must have simultaneously discovered the body of the large demon and ended up fighting over its body and its grave goods. The domain monarch's Jiang clan were probably not the only ones who had heard the news of the big demon of Frosty Snow Mountain. Fifth great uncle, what should we do? Jiang Shun looked at Jiang Shangyu. Well, wait and see, Jiang Shangyu said calmly, his lips curving in a chilly smile. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware that the oriole is behind him. The big demon had just died, and its entire body was essentially treasure. Anyone who obtained it could greatly boost their family's strength. No one would willingly let it go. The Cloud Valley clan and the Southern Peak clan were both very powerful. If they barged in, it would turn into a three-way fight. But if they waited for the two clans to defeat each other, the Zhongs might reap the benefits. With that, the Zhong family group hid their aura with the help of the demon aura in the area and waited for the two ancient clans to wear out each other. Chapter 1484. The mantis stalks the cicada. Unaware of the oriole behind the two ancient clans were about equal in strength and numbers. The fight was intense, but after a long time, the men from the Southern Peak clan slowly gained the upper hand. Many of the Cloud Valley clan were injured, and this put them at a disadvantage. Elder Yun, too many of our men are injured. If we carry on fighting, we will be at a disadvantage. A man from the Cloud Valley clan said. He was soaked in blood, and he looked grim when he saw more and more of his clansmen fall. Elder Yun's expression also grew somber. They had been the first to discover the body of the large demon, but had not expected to encounter the Southern Peak clan here. The Cloud Valley clan had entered the land of infinite demons first and had used up much of their energy before that. This put them at a disadvantage when they fought the Southern Peak clan. In a land of infinite demons, the danger was not just the environment, but also the other ancient clans with the same goals. The skin and flesh of the large demon made excellent medicine. If they could take some and refine it, it could improve a cultivator's foundation. Hence, neither ancient clan would abandon it lightly. The situation looked bad, and the Cloud Valley clan elder could not help but panic. Many members of their Cloud Valley clan had entered the place, but they had split up after a few days, giving the Southern Peak clan an opportunity. Dismayed, the Cloud Valley clan elder was determined to retreat. He secretly signaled to his clansmen and prepared to retreat in a particular direction. But they retreated right into the Jiang family's hiding place. Just as the Cloud Valley clan was prepared to turn and leave, they ran into Yi Yu and the others, who were secretly hiding there. Yi Yu was not very powerful and had been hiding in a secret spot to watch. She had not expected the Cloud Valley clan to suddenly retreat and did not even have time to hide. Yi Yu stood where she was, with a frozen expression on her face, staring at the Cloud Valley clan elder. It was an awkward situation. Elder Yun looked at the hidden Yi Yu in shock. For the first time, he noticed the Jiang family crest on Yi Yu's chest. Now that Yi Yu's identity had been revealed, Jiang Shangyu saw that this was their chance, and he led the Jiang family group from their hiding place. Both the Cloud Valley clan and the Southern Peak clan looked conflicted when Jiang Shangyu and the rest appeared. The Cloud Valley clan had intended to retreat, but now they did not want to leave anymore. The Southern Peak clan looked extremely grim. They thought that the big demon was theirs once they had forced the Cloud Valley clan to retreat. Who would have expected the domain monarch's Jiang clan to suddenly appear? The two ancient clans were no fools. When they saw the Jiang family emerge, they knew what was going on. The Jiang family had probably been hiding there for a long time. Yi Yu was the first to reveal her identity. Now, she secretly retreated behind Jiang Qin. Jiang Shangyu had intended to emerge only after the Cloud Valley clan left, and then to swoop down on the big demon's body before the Southern Peak clan could recuperate. He had not expected the plan to be brought forward. So, it's our friend from the Jiang family. I suppose the Jiang family is also here for the big demon? Elder Yin from the Cloud Valley clan suddenly said with a smile. It was true that they were planning to leave, but now the circumstances had changed. The Jiang family was here, which added another dimension to the fight for the big demon. No matter which of the three clans intended to seize the big demon, it first needed to defeat the other two families. 1485. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind three. Although the Cloud Valley clan had been greatly weakened, it could still fight. With the Jiang family and the Southern Peak clan holding each other in check, their chances of winning just increased a little. In a one-on-one fight, they could tell who would win. But in a three-way fight, no one was willing to strike the first blow. The family that stayed out of it while the other two fought would gain the advantage. The three clan leaders present all understood this. Right now, the Southern Peak clan was the angriest. They had almost gotten the big demon, but had not expected the Jiang family to suddenly emerge and disrupt their plans. At that moment, Jiang Shangyu was not in a good mood. He could have obtained the big demon with minimal effort, but now that Yi Yu had been discovered, their plan had to be brought forward. Since everyone's goal is the same, why don't we sit down and have a good talk? Elder Yin from the Cloud Valley clan said suddenly. Talk your head. The men from the Southern Peak clan just wanted to strangle the Cloud Valley clan. However, if they and the Cloud Valley clan fought to the bitter end, the Jiang family would win effortlessly. What do you want to talk about? Although the Southern Peak clan was inwardly castigating the cunning Elder Yun, they had no choice but to compromise. Even an idiot could tell that they had the edge over the Cloud Valley clan. If they insisted on taking the body alone, they would certainly have to fight the Jiang family. The Jiang family was currently at peak condition. The moment they started a fight, the Southern Peak clan would probably lose. Also, the Jiang family had been hiding, which clearly revealed their intentions. Now, the Southern Peak family had no choice but to stop the Cloud Valley clan from leaving to maintain the balance of the situation. Otherwise, the moment the Cloud Valley clan left, they would have to fight the Jiang family to the end. Right now, the Southern Peak clan could still fight, but they had just been through an intense battle and would certainly be at a disadvantage in another fight. After weighing up the situation, the two ancient clans that had been fighting bitterly now came to a consensus. Elder Yin saw that Jiang Shangyu still did not speak and thought that he had silently agreed to the plan. So he said, Our three families are all here for the big demon. Everyone should have a share. Why don't we divide the big demon's body and the grave goods into 3 equal shares, and everyone will take 1 share. We want the entire big demon, Jiang Shangyu said with a cold laugh. The two ancient clans looked grim when they heard Jiang Shangyu's words. At almost the same instant Jiang Shangyu finished speaking, the Jiang family charged. Within a moment, the 3 sides were embroiled in a fight. Jiang Shangyu ordered Jiang Shun to bring some men to the big demon's body while he led the rest to hamper the 2 clans. The 2 clans had already sustained heavy losses. Now as they encountered the Jiang family, they rapidly began to lose ground. Jiang Shun and the others threaded through layers of mist and rushed towards the black figure. But when they reached the side of the black figure, they were stunned. Lying before them was a demonic animal, dozens of meters in width. Although it was huge, it was not the legendary big demon. Just as Jiang Shun and the others realized that this was not their goal, the earth beneath their feet suddenly started to shake. A dull cry rang out like thunder, reaching everyone's ears. The 3 sides that were fighting immediately stopped. They sensed an immense gush of demonic aura coming from somewhere nearby. With that, everyone came to a consensus and stopped fighting. The next second, a huge being that was nearby slowly started walking towards them. This huge being was 100 meters tall. They could not clearly see its features through the mist, but the entire ground shook with every step that it took. Chapter 1486 gathered from all places one Demon King. The eyes of Elder Yun of the Cloud Valley clan widened. They watched the huge demonic creature, which was not too far away, walk past them. It seemed to sense movement in their area. High above them, its single eye swept across everyone present. An ominous foreboding arose in their hearts. The Demon King must be here to seize the big demon. However, the Demon King only swept a cursory glance at them before it walked deeper into the land of infinite demons. As the Demon King left, the immense demonic aura that had shrouded everyone slowly dissipated. Before they could recover, they heard the piercing cry of a phoenix coming from above them. They saw a 9-headed demon phoenix flying over them. Its wingspan exceeded 100 meters. It was like a huge, dark cloud covering the sky. Innumerable small demons followed in the wake of the 9-headed demon phoenix. They covered the sky, and darkness slowly engulfed them. What's going on? Jiang Qin was shocked as she looked at the strange phenomenon in the sky. The Cyclops Demon King, the nine-headed Demon Phoenix, all these were demon kings that held sway in their own realms. Their sudden appearance here meant that they also intended to obtain the big demon of the frosty snow mountains. But at this moment, they did not seem to sense the humans and brushed past them and left. Fifth granduncle, we've been fooled. The thing that collapsed over there is not a big demon at all. It is merely a larger small demon. Jiang Shun hurried back. They had only vaguely seen a black figure in the thick mist. When they saw the bodies of so many small demons lying there, they had erroneously assumed that the big demon must be in the mist. Who knew? This was not the case at all. What? Jiang Shun's words shocked both clans. What is going on? That is not the body of the big demon. Jiang Shangyu frowned. The elders of the other two clans also grew suspicious. They had thought it was strange that the Cyclops Demon King and the nine-headed Demon Phoenix had left. But when they heard Jiang Shun's words, their suspicions deepened. They rushed over to the black figure and peered through the mist only to discover their fight had been in vain. This was not the body of the large demon. The faces of the two clan leaders immediately darkened. The members of the Cloud Valley clan had just discovered the black figure when they encountered the members of the Southern Peak clan, so they had not managed to take a closer look. The two sides assumed that the black figure was the body of the big demon and were too concerned with fighting over it to even examine it closely. Now, the joke was on them. Do you really think that the body of the big demon is so easily obtained and that you could just pick it up? Jiang Sun could not help but laugh coldly at this farce. Yi Qingtang was also speechless. She had never been to the land of infinite demons before and did not know much about it. But come to think of it, a dominant big demon was so terrifying. If it knew that its life was coming to an end, would it just casually die at the borders of the land of infinite demons? Furthermore, the fight for a big demon was so intense, so why were there only 3 forces fighting for it? At that moment, everyone recovered their wits. The two ancient clans who had been fighting so bitterly felt conflicted. Now that they knew they had wrongly identified the big demon, they did not say anything else and simply left the area. Fifth granduncle, what should we do now? Jiang Shun was frustrated. He thought that they had gotten an incredible deal, but it turned out to be just a mistake. Chapter 1487 gathered from all directions. Jiang Shangyu frowned and pondered, but waves of suffocating demonic air suddenly invaded the surroundings. Huge black shadows slowly roamed deeper into the land of infinite demons through the thick fog, as though there was something in there that was attracting them toward it. So many demonic creatures. Jiang Shangyu frowned slightly. Although he could not see the faces of those 100-meter-tall black shadows, he could tell that there were many demon kings present from the powerful demonic air. Swoosh! A piercing sound sliced the repressive atmosphere. Numerous shadows suddenly flew past in the air above the land of infinite demons and were actually headed in the same direction as those demon kings. Fifth great-uncle, is there something deep in the land of infinite demons? Jiang Shun was tempted. Jiang Shangyu replied, "Let's go and take a look." Jiang Shun and the others had a hesitant look. Several demon kings near them already headed there, and it was definitely an extremely terrifying force with so many demon kings gathered together. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. These demon kings were headed in the same direction, which means that there's definitely something attracting them. The demon kings can sense great demons way better than us. Perhaps they have already found out where that great demon died, Jiang Shangyu said in a deep voice. Those demon kings would rush over as well when the great demon died, and once a scramble for the treasures began, it would be a bloody war across various clans. Everyone has to listen to my command. If anyone does not listen to my command when we enter deeper into the land of infinite demons, no one will save you even if you die. Jiang Shangyu instructed coldly. Understood. All the Jiang family members viewed Jiang Shangyu as their only leader. Immediately, under Jiang Shangyu's lead, everyone chased in the direction where the demon kings headed to. Tang Tang, you must be extremely careful. Follow me closely. Jiang Sun warned Yi Qingtang seriously. Many demon kings had already appeared now, and this scramble would definitely be a violent one. In that situation, even she might not be able to protect herself. Yi Qingtang nodded and remained beside Jiang Sun obediently. Jiang Shangyu and the group followed right after the demon kings. But the closer they got to the depths of the land of infinite demons, the more intense the demonic air in the surroundings. The trees in the surroundings seemed to be nourished by this demonic air and were immensely tall. Shaded by the tall mountains and trees, the thick fog was swept into the strong currents of the river. Black figures shuffled their way through at the foot of the high cliffs. After following for half a day, Yi Qingtang and the rest finally saw a ray of light at a far corner of a dim and dense forest. At the bottom of a waterfall among the successive mountains, an enormous frame was sprawled in between the cliffs of two tall mountains. It was such a gigantic frame that seemed to reach the clouds, and its head and tail were out of sight. One could only see a small part of its body. That is, the great demon of the frosty snow mountains. Yi Qingtang's eyes widened uncontrollably as she looked at the enormous creature afar. The great demon title induced fear. Yi Qingtang only heard that the great demon of the frosty snow mountains once swallowed millions of people. Now that she only saw the tip of the iceberg, it was already unimaginably enormous. No wonder. This great demon could swallow millions of living beings. Just its frame was already unbelievable, and the surrounding tall cliffs were actually no taller than that great demon lying down. Chapter 1488 gathered from all directions 3 after seeing a part of the great demon's body. Yi Qingtang felt that it was ridiculous that the Cloud Valley clan mistook the small demon as it. The toe of this great demon was probably larger than that small demon's body. This fellow probably wanted to enter the forbidden area, but died here. A thunderous voice entered everyone's ears. That was a plain voice, but its force seemed to be able to crush the organs of the listeners. A 100-meter-tall demonic creature stood at the bottom of a mountain cliff, and a soul eye in the center of its face was squinted as it looked at that great demon's body. Cyclops Demon King. Yi Qingtang narrowed her eyes at that enormous Cyclops Demon King. This Cyclops Demon King never paid any regard to them when it passed by them just now, and it must have headed to this location because it sensed the location of the great demon. This Cyclops Demon King dominated a region and was extremely aggressive. There are numerous demons under him, and they once wiped out several countries. It had a brutal nature and found joy in devouring humans. Several large imperial courts hated it to the core and joined forces to annihilate it, but they ultimately ended up giving the Cyclops Demon King a huge meal. Ultimately, they were unable to kill it and could only let it be. A phoenix call rang at this instant. The 9-heads demon phoenix that Yi Qingtang and the rest saw earlier was hovering in the sky with groups of demons gathered behind it. The Cyclops Demon King looked up slightly and scoffed at the sight of the 9-heads demon phoenix. So, it's here. A cold voice rang as numerous shadows suddenly arrived in the air. They were stern-looking men donned in green robes who rode on swords. Standing upright in the air, their eyes were fixed on that great demon's corpse. The 7 saints of the snow zone. Yi Qingtang was shaken when she saw the figures of those men. The 7 saints of the snow zone were the top powerful figures of the central mainland. Although the 7 of them were not old, they were insanely talented and became renowned in a few years after becoming adults. Possessing different specialties, these 7 people moved together whenever they were in an operation and remained undefeated to date. I never thought that the 7 saints of the snow zone would also be joining in the fun in the land of infinite demons. A deep laugh suddenly resounded. As that laughter entered everyone's ears, a huge demonic beast gradually approached the crowd from a cliff. That demonic beast had gold-plated armor, and on its back sat an old-looking elderly with sharp eyes. With a bone flute in his hands, the elderly smiled, but his eyes seemed to be permeated with an icy chill. That elderly was the beast master in the central mainland, and he could control all demonic beasts for his use with a bone flute. Although he was alone, a troop with 1,000,000 demonic beasts struck terror in humans. Back when the Central Dynasty was in chaos, the Emperor personally requested the Beast Master's help. With just a flute and by himself only, he commanded a huge troop consisting of millions of demonic beasts and forced the enemy to retreat, thus stabilizing the internal disorder within the Central Dynasty. In no time, more and more figures appeared near the great demon, and Yi Qingtang was shaken when she took a glance. Everyone she met today was a prominent, powerful figure of the central mainland. It was difficult for others to take one eye at them on normal days, but who would have thought? All of them were actually gathered here after hearing about the death of the great demon. As Yi Qingtang scanned those top powerful figures, a dragon roar broke out in the sky all of a sudden. Yi Qingtang blanked out for a moment at the sound of that familiar dragon roar. Chapter 1489, Worsening Matters 1. When Yi Qingtang looked up, all she saw was 3 skeletal dragons pulling an extremely familiar-looking black bone carriage across the sky. All 8 tribe leaders were present as they arrived on black skeletal dragons ahead of the black bone carriage. An aura of death permeated throughout instantly. It can't be. Yi Qingtang's face fell the moment she saw the people from the Temple of Shadows. Even the Temple of Shadows came over to join in on the fun. Taking a peek at the black bone carriage, Yi Qingtang touched her unconcealed face and quietly hid behind Jiang Sun. Please don't let the person in that carriage be Ming Wang. Jiang Sun was unaware of Yi Qingtang's inner suffering and merely thought that Yi Qingtang behaved that way, as she had never seen such a scale of events before. Jiang Sun comforted her immediately. Tang Tang, be careful later. I never thought that news of this great demon's death would circulate to so many forces either. Even the Temple of Shadows appeared. Jiang Sun frowned slightly. She did not know the objective of this expedition to the land of infinite demons before coming. Had she known that it was for the great demon that just died, she probably would have stopped Yi Qingtang from coming no matter what. A recently dead great demon was enormously tempting to any clan. Every time a great demon died, the land of infinite demons would instantly turn into a living hell as all the clans would go all out to contest for great demon's treasures. At the thought of that, Jiang Sun could not help but look at Jiang Shangyu, and her frown deepened. With squinted eyes, the Cyclops Demon King glanced across everyone. Suddenly, it seemed to have sensed something as it looked toward the mountain peak not far away from the corner of its eye. Signs of cracks appeared on the mountain peak that used to stand tall. Huge boulders suddenly fell from the mountain peak, and a massive crack appeared in the mountain body as though it was forcefully being torn apart. With a loud crash, the entire mountain was split into half as giant figures slowly walked out from it. Those giants had extremely ferocious appearances. Yi Qingtang could not help but widen her eyes at the sight of those huge figures. The 12 Demon Kings. Those giant creatures were all of the Demon King rank, including the Cyclops Demon King and 9-headed Demon Phoenix. There were 12 Demon Kings in total, all of whom were notorious in the central mainland for their brutality. Never would Yi Qingtang have thought that she would see the 7 Saints, Beastmaster, and even the Temple of Shadows and 12 Demon Kings gathered here today. Such a scene really left one dumbfounded. The Beast Masters and others' expressions changed slightly when the 12 Demon Kings appear before them. As though there was a demon banquet, behind the 12 Demon Kings were countless little demons crowded together densely. But right at this moment, a thunderous sound rumbled in the sky. A 9-headed demon arrived slowly while pulling a large golden carriage hoisting a flag representing the ancient Yu clan. 30-plus huge demons, each carrying an ancient Yu clan member, flaunted their wings as they stayed in formation in front of the golden carriage. The ancient Yu clan actually mobilized over 30 elders. Jiang Sun, who was beside Yi Qingtang, noticed the ancient Yu clan's troops. Suspecting that she was blind, she felt her eyes pop open. Chapter 1490 Worsening Matters. 2 Yi Qingtang squinted her eyes slightly as she glanced across the ancient Yu-clan troop. She realized that the elder she met the other time in the first mainland was not present. However, her heart suddenly leaped. The ancient Yu-clan elder she met in the first mainland was in the heavenly venerate realm, but now, casting a glance, Yi Qingtang realized that the 30-plus ancient Yu-clan elders that appeared in the land of infinite demons were several times more powerful than that person. It's little Yu Yun. Yi Qingtang's heart sank. After the ancient Yu-clan obtained little Yu Yun, their skills increased tremendously. However, the speed of this increase was far beyond her initial predictions. The arrival of the ancient Yu-clan attracted the attention of other forces as well. The Cloud Valley clan and Southern Peak clan, which crossed paths with the Jiang family earlier on, also appeared here, and they were taken aback when they saw the ancient Yu-clan elders. They were clearly flabbergasted by the dramatic increase of ancient Yu-clan skills. I heard that the ancient Yu-clan was up to some things recently. So, it's their increase in skills. It seems that they've already used the spiritual abode they obtained from the first mainland. Jiang Sun scoffed, though it was not the time to look at ancient Yu-clan right now. Just as Jiang Sun was pondering, a loud voice suddenly rang. Ancient Yu-clan, I didn't expect you all to be here today as well. A figure suddenly walked out from the dense forest of the land of infinite demons. Donned in a long black robe, it was a 15 or 16-year-old teen with close to 100 people following behind him. His gaze turned cold immediately when he saw the ancient Yu-clan troop in the sky. That is, Yi Qingtang looked at that teen uncertainly as she vaguely felt a sense of familiarity. Jiang Sun said softly, that is by Li Shi, one of the top geniuses of the younger generation in the central mainland. He may only be 16 years old, but he is already at the peak of the heavenly venerate. Given his endowment, he probably can advance to the holy venerate realm before 20. A holy venerate before the age of 20? Surprise flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes. She stared at that youth again, and only then did she realize why he felt familiar. In her previous life, Bai Lishi was one of the top 10 honor roll geniuses in the central mainland alongside Beta Demon Lord. Yi Qingtang met Bai Lishi once due to Beta Demon Lord, but Bai Lishi was much older back then. Anyone from a younger generation who could enter the central mainland's honor roll list in her previous life was known to be extraordinarily talented. Yi Qingtang needed 300 years to enter the holy venerate realm, but Bai Lishi, at age 16, was only one step away from the holy venerate realm. Bai Lishi seemed to have some enmity with the ancient Yu-clan, but he did not act impulsively. Such was actually the case with others as well. Many forces in the scene had some grudges against each other, but at this moment, all of the powerful figures seemed to have some sort of tacit understanding. Thus, no one made a move. Our objective is the same today, and it is not the time to be settling our private feuds right now. Seizing the great demon as quickly as possible is the key instead, the Beastmaster said suddenly after remaining silent all this while. As he spoke, his eyes specifically swept across the Demon Kings, Temple of Shadows, and forces of other alien races. Chapter 1491, Worsening Matters. 3. Everyone's goal was the same this time. Everyone, regardless of whether they were a part of the Demon Kings, alien races including the Temple of Shadows, the ancient Yu-clan, or the Jiang family, was here to seize the great demon. And at this instant, everyone present seemed to have a certain tacit understanding. There was no intention to attack others, and everyone was merely on their guard against each other. Bai Lishi scoffed, but did not take further action. It was clear that while he was young, he knew that it was not the right time to settle scores with the ancient Yu-clan. His eyes swept across the surroundings, and he snickered. Since we have the same goal, isn't it time for the friends hidden in the dark to appear? Everyone was dumbfounded by what Bai Lishi said. Nonetheless, the Jiang family and ancient Yu-clan had a calm composure. Moments later, several figures suddenly darted across the sky and appeared before everyone. From a corner, Yi Qingtang looked up at those figures in the sky and was taken aback. she actually spotted a familiar figure among those people. There was a pretty lady who had a hint of impatience on her pale complexion. She stood behind an elderly with a frown, though she disregarded everyone at the scene with plain arrogance. "It's her." Yi Qingtang was surprised to see that lady in green. Wasn't that lady none other than the lady in green, whose mutated heavenly demon bloodline was counter-absorbed by Yi Qingtang at the inheritance of the divine phoenix back then? She had actually appeared here? Yi Qingtang's eyes twitched uncontrollably, and her head began aching. First, the Temple of Shadows. Now, even this lady in green appeared. What kind of play is this? However, Yi Qingtang very quickly realized that something was off about the situation. Ling Yin told her that the lady in green went to the second domain when young, yet that lady appeared with a group of people here. Yi Qingtang instinctively looked towards the people beside the lady in green. After a glance, she shockingly discovered that those people were all above the holy venerate realm. Moreover, their faces were very foreign to Yi Qingtang. If they were powerful figures from the central mainland, there would definitely be one or two familiar faces, but all of them were more than foreign. Could they be from the second domain? So, it's people from the second domain. Bai Lix's lips curled into a snicker when he saw the lady in green. The great demon even attracted people from the second domain. The powerful figures from the second domain smiled briefly without uttering a word as they stood in the air, merely casting an arrogant glance that spelled belittlement. The corpse of the frosty snow mountain's great demon was already found, but with so many forces gathered here, the ownership of the great demon would definitely be a problem. At this instant, the 10 demon kings gathered together, and their size was already a shuddering sight. Standing between the masses and the great demon, their huge bodies formed a tall wall as an extremely obscure demon language filled the air. Moments later, the Cyclops Demon King suddenly stood forward, and its fierce eye glanced across the masses before it spoke slowly in the rather unfamiliar human language. "This great demon is of our race, and its death has nothing to do with you all. Please leave immediately." Chapter 1492, Overreaching 1. The Cyclops Demon King was the only one among all the demon kings that could understand some human speech. His speech was stiff, but his tone was very hostile. This big demon belonged to their demon clan. It had nothing to do with humans and other clans, even after it was dead. Everyone present frowned when they heard the Cyclops Demon King's words. The moment the Cyclops Demon King finished speaking, a clear voice suddenly rang out from the ancient Yu clan's golden sedan. "What a joke! Does the land of infinite demons belong to the demon clan? On what basis do you order us to leave?" The voice sounded fairly young. They did not know who was inside the sedan, but at that moment, it spoke for all the human clans present. They had come to the land of infinite demons for the sake of the big demon. Yet now the Demon King wanted them to leave? He could dream on. "If you refuse to leave, don't blame us for not holding back anymore." The leather armor on the Cyclops Demon King's back suddenly rose, and a strong demonic aura started to spread around him. "You cannot possibly expect us to leave. If you want to fight, we'll fight you to the end." Jiang Shangyu, who had yet to speak, suddenly leaped upwards into the void. He looked down on the group of demon kings from his vantage point and spoke coldly. In recent times, there had been much friction between the ancient Yu clan and the Jiang family. But at that moment, no matter what dissension there was between these human powers, they would certainly present a united front before these alien races and the demon kings. The ancient Yu clan and the domain monarch's Jiang family had already made their stance clear. The other powers also had similar intentions. As for the Temple of Shadows, the tribe leaders looked on coolly without saying anything. However, these alien races probably had the same intentions. It would be no easy task for the Demon King to force them to leave. The big demon's flesh and grave goods were so enticing. Why would anyone leave? The Cyclops Demon King let out a low roar of rage. The other Demon King's expressions also grew sinister. The horde of small demons gave a deafening bellow that shook the heavens, and the entire mountain range seemed to quiver at the sound. The ancient Yu clan, the Jiang family, and the other human forces did not pale in comparison. In a moment, spirit energy filled the air, and rays of light shone among the humans. The two forces collided in midair. It seemed as though an interracial bloodbath would begin at any moment. However, Yi Qingtang remained calm as she looked at this volatile situation. Tang Tang, don't be scared. Jiang Sun was worried that Yi Qingtang would be shocked by the radiating power and spoke to console her. Yi Qingtang nodded obediently, but her voice did not waver. Grand Anne, am not afraid. Yi Qingtang had lived 300 years in her previous life. How could a battle like this frighten her? Although the demon kings and the human forces seemed all set for a showdown, a closer look revealed that neither side would act rashly. These intimidation techniques merely kept both sides in check and on their toes. It was actually an impasse. Neither the humans, the aliens, nor the demon kings would be the first to start the battle. It would be best if the opponent could be intimidated into retreating. But then, the unexpected happened. Yi Qingtang was watching the powerful forces spoiling for a fight and shouting furiously at each other. But in the void above, those from the second domain were looking impatient. Bunch of beasts. What is there to talk about? We certainly want that big demon. A tall man from the second domain suddenly laughed frostily. He rushed downwards, attempting to leap over the demon kings and head towards the body of the big demon. Chapter 1493, Overreaching 2, but the moment the man moved, rage flashed across the eye of the Cyclops Demon King, who was still shouting harshly across the void. His huge body suddenly doubled in size, and his gigantic hands were instantly covered with a beam of black light. He raised his huge palms with a roar and swatted at the powerful cultivator from the second domain. The powerful cultivator from the second domain smiled scornfully when he saw the Demon King make his move. He looked on disdainfully as he tried to raise his sword to slash the Cyclops Demon King's palm, only to realize that his sword blade immediately shattered upon impact. The leather armor on the Cyclops Demon King's arm was actually hundreds of times harder than meteoric iron. Crash! There was a tremendous crash, and the Cyclops Demon King simply smacked the stunned, powerful cultivator from the second domain straight into the ground. With a loud smash, the Cyclops Demon King's palm crushed the powerful cultivator from the second domain. A large patch of blood, mixed with mangled flesh, oozed from between the Cyclops Demon King's fingers. The strong scent of blood immediately spread to everyone's nostrils. The Cyclops Demon King slowly opened his massive mouth, his ugly face looking even more sinister. Everyone stood there stunned as they watched the Cyclops Demon King kill the powerful cultivator from the second domain with a single blow. Many of them started to frown. A bone-chilling laugh came from the Cyclops Demon King's mouth. He slowly raised his hands. The flesh in his huge palms was mangled. The sticky mess of flesh and blood in his hand slowly dripped into the pool of blood. The old man, who was the leader of the second domain, frowned slightly. The green-robed girl, standing behind him, had a strange expression. Overreached himself, the Cyclops demon said mockingly in his stiff human speech. He opened his mouth and roared. If you don't go, you will end up like him. The Cyclops Demon King narrowed his single eye and swept a cold look at the other races present. Jiang Shangyu frowned slightly. The Cyclops Demon King was even more powerful than legends had it. As the Cyclops Demon King threatened them, all the Demon Kings and small demons present let out a deafening roar, as if in agreement. The roar shook the area. The force of it poured forth like rushing waters of a waterfall. Master, this Demon King's power. The green-robed girl in the void showed no signs of pity when she saw the Cyclops Demon King kill her companion with a single blow. She only looked at the old man in front of her. The old man's expression did not change. To them, it was as if their companion's death was no more than a cool breeze brushing past them. He was careless. It was no one else's fault. The old man said gravely, with only a hint of compassion, the Demon King was incredibly powerful. His skin was as tough as bronze, and his bones as hard as iron. The Cyclops Demon King smashed one fist on the mountain. The mountain peak was instantly crushed to smithereens. He clearly intended to intimidate them. Jiang Sun frowned as she looked at this hostile Demon King. Her brows deeply furrowed, and she subconsciously moved to guard Yi Qingtang, who was behind her a little more carefully. The Cyclops Demon King's abilities were remarkable. Even she was no match for him. Everyone, this Demon King, seems to refuse to relinquish this big demon. What should we do? The Beastmaster looked at everyone. The Cyclops Demon King had already demonstrated that he was ready to drive them off. If this situation continued to drag on, who knew when it would end? Overreaching 3, the big demon's body was decomposing rapidly. If this continued to drag on, they would miss the optimal timing even if they managed to seize the big demon's body. By then, all the major forces had grasped the situation. They exchanged glances and made up their minds. We are definitely taking this big demon. The person in the ancient Yu clan's golden carriage spoke once more. The moment he spoke, a golden glow suddenly shimmered around the 30-plus elders of the ancient Yu clan. Their aura instantly multiplied. In a moment, all the human forces were ready for battle. The 8 tribe leaders from the Temple of Shadows let out deafening roars. The 12 demon kings thundered as the little demons behind them bayed, poised to attack. The battle was imminent. When Yu saw the scene unfold, she subconsciously retreated by a step. At that moment, everyone's attention was focused on the battle that was about to erupt. Her movements did not seem to attract any attention. But 2 people noticed Yu's retreat. One of them was Yi Qingtang. She glanced at Yu, and a cold smile crossed her lips. But she looked away, only to see that Jiang Qi, who had remained silent all this while, cast a calm and fleeting glance at Yu. It was just a glance, and Jiang Qi remained expressionless. However, a faint look of disdain seemed to surface in his eyes. The moment Jiang Qi looked away, the spirit energy around him rose to its peak. The strength of his aura shocked Yi Qingtang. This Jiang Qi is no less powerful than Bai Lishi? At that point, Yi Qingtang finally understood why Jiang Qi had not said a single word to anyone during their journey. To Jiang Qi, all of them probably did not exist. After all, compared to his talent, the little ability that Yi Yu and the others possessed was laughable. The battle was about to begin. All sides were fully prepared. The Cyclops Demon King led the charge. The demonic aura around him seemed to transform into a gigantic vortex that reached the sky. But the moment the Cyclops Demon King charged forward, the mountain range behind the demon hordes suddenly began to quake violently. Behind a mist-covered mountain peaks, a black palm suddenly appeared. It was so huge that it blotted out the sun. Only for an instant. The huge black palm was large enough to smash the mountains into pieces. It seemed to rise straight out of the ground behind the mountain peaks, and it suddenly came crashing down. A gale blew as the huge palm swept through the entire battlefield as countless boulders were sent flying towards the horizon. The gale swept up the flowing river, and the entire river instantly dried up. Boulders, the river. All of these were mixed together by the wild wind. Everyone widened their eyes as the huge palm that seemed to cover the entire sky descended towards the ground. The Cyclops Demon King and the horde of small demons only had enough time to sense a suffocating demonic aura surge forth from behind them. Before they could turn around, the gigantic black shadow engulfed them. Boom! The huge palm crushed the Cyclops Demon King and all the small demons. The force of the impact caused the entire ground to sink by a few meters. What's going on? Jiang Shanyu looked startled. He looked over only to see that the supposedly dead big demon had suddenly started to move. As the body of the big demon arose, the surrounding mountain peaks, ones that touched the clouds, were instantly crushed into smithereens. Chapter 1495 Big Demon, the roaring noise continued to reverberate in their ears. It looked as if the huge body would crush the mountain range. They had been ready to fight, but now they stiffened and looked at the gigantic creature slowly rising from the ground. Isn't dead. The big demon isn't dead. Jiang Sun had an extremely ugly expression. The Cyclops Demon King was so powerful, yet the big demon had crushed him into meat paste before their eyes with one blow. Roar! A low growl emerged from behind the mountains. They saw a huge black figure slowly arise, and a gigantic head emerge from behind the mountain peaks. With a pair of crimson eyes holding vertical pupils that were as large as moons, the huge figure swept a look across every living thing present. The cry of a phoenix suddenly arose. The nine-headed demon phoenix was so aggressive earlier, but the instant it saw the big demon return from the dead, it spread its wings and urgently tried to flee this hellish place. But before the nine-headed demon phoenix could get far, a scarlet tongue suddenly shot out from behind the mountains. The mucus-covered tongue swept across the horizon and swept up the nine-headed demon phoenix, which was hundreds of meters long, and countless flying small demons. They were swiftly dragged behind the mountain peaks and vanished. A crisp, crunching noise instantly rose from behind the mountains. They could vaguely see blood flying and splattering the half-hidden head. When Yi Qingtang saw this shocking scene, she almost instantaneously grabbed the stunned Jiang Sun, turned, and ran. The big demon of the frosty snow mountains was still alive. No one would have thought that the big demon they were fighting for was still alive. It had been lying motionlessly on the ground, as if waiting to swallow those who wanted to steal its treasure. Damn it, the big demon was pretending to be dead. It's going to seize the opportunity to kill us. The ambitious crowd finally realized that danger was imminent. The big demon was as intelligent as any of them. In fact, it was smarter than most people. This big demon had not died at all. It had deliberately crouched there without moving so that everyone would think it was dead, so that their greedy natures would emerge. But they did not know that. Their greed had brought death upon their heads. Everyone who had intended to steal the big demon's treasure now had a different expression. They hurriedly fled in all directions. Even the old man from the second domain immediately led his companions and flew to escape the area. No ordinary person could withstand the power of the big demon. Even the demon kings submitted to the big demon and acknowledged it as sovereign. But a moment later, the big demon finally straightened up. The endless mountain range looked like pathetic little hills beneath its feet. The big demon's 6 gigantic claws easily strode over the mountain peaks. Sending a wild gale with every move, the big demon instantly flattened the sturdy mountains. Debris showered down from the sky like rain, killing the horde of small demons at the foot of the mountain. Countless bodies piled up to form a mound at the foot of the mountains. Blood flowed like rivers. The moment the big demon stood up, its body was no longer in everyone's line of sight. Its huge head plunged into the clouds, and only its 6 gigantic claws remained in sight. The rest of its body was covered by the clouds. Chapter 1496, Big Demon 2 Roar. Reverberating through the clouds, the roar was so loud that it could be heard for hundreds of miles around. The moment the big demon roared in rage, everyone who was flying through the void fell from the sky as if a boulder had struck their chests. No matter whether they were powerful cultivators or holy venerates, to the big demon, they were as insignificant as insects. Yi Qingtang inwardly berated them all as she fled with Jiang Sun in tow. They knew that the big demon was extraordinarily powerful, yet they did not even check if the big demon was dead before swarming over. Weren't they seeking their own deaths? One must know that any big demon had the power to destroy any mainland in the first domain. No other creature could compare to the might it demonstrated when it gulped down 100,000 people in one mouthful. Legends had it that big demons were servants of the God-Fiend. They submitted to the God-Fiend and were the most similar to the God-Fiend. Because of their eccentric natures, most of the big demons in the mainland kept each other in check, and the majority of them lived in seclusion. Otherwise, the mainland would have been utterly destroyed long ago. Everyone lusted over the treasure that the big demons possessed, but were frightened of their power. Thus, they only dared to steal the big demon's grave goods after they died. At that moment, Yi Qingtang was soaked in cold sweat. If this big demon was truly enraged, none of them here would survive. By then, Jiang Sun had recovered his wits. He turned to see the destruction behind him, but what he saw caused his hair to stand on end. The big demon, who stood over the clouds completely, covered the sky, and darkness fell over everyone. The mountain range had already been flattened by the big demon's gigantic claws, with countless bodies laying among the debris. Demons, humans, aliens. To the big demon, all living things were despicable thieves. These living things who tried to steal its treasure were about to die under its claws. Tragic screams, accompanied by ear-splitting explosions, reverberated through the air. Yi Qingtang watched as the 7 saints of the snow zone fell from the void at the big demon's roar. Before they could get up, they were mangled by the giant claws. The big demon's scarlet eyes looked down on the thieves from the clouds. The 2 blood-red eyes were like 2 red moons, glaring at all these creatures. Beams of light shone from among the humans. Surrounded by death, everyone now brought out their Dharma treasures to try to flee as far as possible. But before they could use their Dharma treasures, a dark fog suddenly spread out from the big demon. The fog moved with the speed of lightning and spread 100 miles around. The instant it covered the area, it formed a huge barrier against the external world, enclosing the entire area within itself. The powerful cultivators and demon kings who were trying to flee suddenly realized that the Dharma treasures in their hands seemed to lose their spirit energy. No matter how they tried, the Dharma treasures seemed to have lost their effectiveness and could not be activated. Dharma blocking barrier. Yi Qingtang frowned as she looked at the area enclosed by the black fog. The Dharma blocking barrier was one of the Dharma spells that the big demons specialized in. Any Dharma treasure within the Dharma blocking barrier would instantly lose its effectiveness, unless it was a true divine, arcane, supreme Dharma treasure. Otherwise, it was as useless as a pile of scrap metal when it was within the Dharma blocking barrier. Chapter 1497 Big Demon 3 The moment the Dharma blocking barrier came into effect, everyone despaired. The demon clearly wanted to trap and kill them all here. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. She had intended to flee for some distance, and then use the talisman that Mo had left her to try escaping with Jiang Sun. But the moment the Dharma blocking barrier was activated, the talisman became useless. The others had realized this point as well. Everyone had an ugly expression as they looked at the fog that spanned across 100 miles. It won't let any of us off. Jiang Shangyu frowned deeply. As he looked at the chaotic scene, he flew upwards and slowly drew closer to the big demon. The big demon had left a trail of flattened vegetation and mountains in its wake. Blood seeped out from beneath the mud. Who knew how many creatures had been trodden into the ground by the big demon? At that moment, all the demon kings had terrible expressions. They had intended to enjoy the big demon's treasures after battling the humans and alien races. Who would have thought that they would soon become mere pieces of food in the big demon's stomach? We'll all be dead if we continue fleeing like that. The big demon clearly does not intend to let us live. Why don't we fight? Perhaps this will give us a chance of survival. The person in the ancient Yu clan's golden carriage spoke once more. However, his tone was now graver. Beastmaster, now that the Cyclops Demon King is dead, you are the only one who understands demon language. Can I trouble you to speak to those demon kings? Jiang Shangyu frowned slightly. Now, joining forces was their only hope of withstanding the big demon king. At that moment, the Beastmaster was in a sorry state. The big demon had crushed his steed with a single bite. He was fortunate enough to escape, but he had been affected by the big demon's demonic aura, and he was still unsteady on his feet. However, at that moment, the Beastmaster could not be bothered about his state, sorry or otherwise. He walked towards the demon kings, who stood there with their ugly expressions. Unintelligible demonic words emerged from his mouth as he tried his best to communicate with these demon kings. The demon kings had clearly been frightened by the big demon. When they heard the beast master's words, the demon king's expressions grew complicated. Jiang Shangyu frowned deeply as he watched an elder from the ancient Yu clan walk over. The two exchanged glances, and both understood the other's intentions. No matter how fraught relations were between the Jiang family and the ancient Yu clan, at this moment, they would face the enemy together and fight for their lives. Friend from the Jiang family. The elder from the ancient Yu clan stepped forward. Jiang Shangyu raised his hand slightly. We are now in grave danger. I don't know if you have heard the news from the Temple of Shadows, the elder from the ancient Yu clan said. Jiang Shangyu was startled, and he raised his eyes to the void to look at the troops from the Temple of Shadows. Everyone had been affected by the big demon's roar of rage and were unable to remain in the void. However, the undead from the Temple of Shadows seemed unaffected by the big demon's sonic waves. Even so, only one of the 3 skeletal dragons from the Temple of Shadows remained. The steeds of the 8 tribe leaders had all met their end in the big demon's mouth. What are you trying to say? Jiang Shangyu turned to look at the elder from the ancient Yu clan, his brow furrowed. Why was the elder from the ancient Yu clan asking him if he knew about what had happened in the Temple of Shadows at a time like this? What did it have to do with their current situation? Did you know that the Holy Lord of the Temple of Shadows has returned? The elder from the ancient Yu clan asked. Big Demon 4 Jiang Shangyu was stunned by these words. What did you say? The Holy Lord of Shadows is back? Jiang Shangyu's eyes were filled with surprise. The Holy Lord of Shadows had vanished for many years. Many forces in central mainland assumed that the Holy Lord of Shadows had died quietly. It's absolutely true. An elder from my clan saw the Holy Lord of Shadows in the Eternal Dynasty. Now, the forces from the Temple of Shadows are here, together with all 8 tribe leaders. The Holy Lord of Shadows might be in the Black Bone carriage, the elder from the ancient Yu clan said. They had tried to make trouble for Ling Yin in the Eternal Dynasty, but the Holy Lord of Shadows had unexpectedly intervened, preventing them from attaining their goal. From this incident, they had learned that the Holy Lord of Shadows had returned. Jiang Shangyu's expression grew grave. Jiang Shangyu had not received news of the Holy Lord of Shadows' return, but at this moment, the ancient Yu clan certainly would not be speaking carelessly. Jiang Shangyu's gaze turned once more to the Black Bone carriage in the void. Could the Holy Lord of Shadows really be sitting in the Black Bone carriage? Although the Holy Lord of Shadows had vanished for a long time, she was still the most important person in Central Mainland. Legends had it that she had fought with one of the big demons in Central Mainland, and although they had reached an impasse, her presence today meant they might have a greater chance of winning. Jiang Shangyu and the elder from the ancient Yu clan quietly discussed whether to negotiate an alliance with the Temple of Shadows. While they were talking, Yi Qingtang, who was standing in the corner, heard every word. The Holy Lord of Shadows? Now, Yi Qingtang did not know whether to laugh or to cry. If circumstances had not forbidden it, she would tell the ancient Yu clan and Jiang Shangyu to forget about it. The Holy Lord of Shadows that the ancient Yu clan had encountered was right here. Where would they go to find another? Although those were her thoughts, Yi Qingtang took a handkerchief and swiftly covered her face. Besides other considerations, many of her acquaintances were currently present. Whether it was the Temple of Shadows or the Green-Robe Girl, her face would be fresh in their memories. Perhaps they had not noticed her when they were fleeing just now, but if they saw her face now, things would get interesting. The Green-Robe Girl and the 8 tribe leaders would kill her without the big demon needing to act. Yi Qingtang had not forgotten that the 8 tribe leaders were still strongly suspicious of her identity as the Holy Lord of Shadows. A moment later, Jiang Shangyu and the elder from the ancient Yu clan seemed to come to a decision. As the big demon's sonic waves dissipated, the two seized the opportunity to fly upwards and headed straight for the group from the Temple of Shadows. Yi Qingtang did not know what Jiang Shangyu and the Temple of Shadows said, but they seemed to come to some sort of agreement. Everyone was forming alliances, but the big demon was getting closer. In a moment, the area that the big demon's feet passed over was a gory mess. The strong scent of blood filled the air, accompanied by the big demon's roars. It looked like hell on earth. The various forces that had been fighting each other earlier now cooperated to fight for a chance to survive. The troops from every side used their killing moves. Even the demon kings exerted themselves fully. However, to the big demon, their combined efforts were pathetic. More and more people fell, and the big demon's tongue drew countless small demons into its mouth. Chapter 1499, Big Demon 5. As the big demon chewed on its food, blood spurted out and soaked its entire surroundings, filling the dried river with blood. The alliance that was formed just now was immediately destroyed after the big demon rampaged. A few demon kings were swallowed by the big demon, and about 10 elders from the ancient Yu clan were smashed under its paw. Both the Jiang family and the Temple of Shadows suffered great losses. The rest were in even more disastrous states. Despair filled everyone's minds at that instant. Yi Qingtang's veil was stained red by the blood. Jiang Sun was injured as well since he tried to protect her. However, even after such a horrifying fight, the big demon was not injured at all. The wound on its body that was a few meters deep did not even penetrate its outer layer of skin. Those who remained, including the powerful figures that came from the second domain, could not stay calm as they saw the big demon approaching. Boom! The big demon crushed the surrounding mountains and rivers. Its head was covered by the clouds, and only pieces of flesh dropped from the clouds as it chewed. The flesh of the other demons smashed onto the ground in front of everyone. No one expected the situation to develop in such a way. Everyone was here to fight for the big demon's corpse and treasures, but soon they would be a part of the lump of flesh in its mouth. However, when everyone was almost engulfed by the feeling of despair, the big demon suddenly stopped. What happened? Jiang Sun's guard was up as he stared at the big demon. Yi Qingtang narrowed her eyes and planned to figure out what happened. The giant body that was covered by the clouds suddenly fell down. Its head slammed onto the mountain ridges and flattened them. No one was prepared for the big demon's fall. Many were crushed as it collapsed. The big demon fell down in front of everyone, and its body was like a huge mountain one could not climb over. Now, everyone managed to see its appearance. Is it dead? Someone asked while trembling. Everyone gazed at the body of the big demon. The big demon would only head toward the land of infinite demons when it was about to die. This was why everyone rushed over after hearing about the news, but no one expected it to be still conscious and alive. Yet now, was it trying to prank everyone again, or was it really dead? No one could figure that out. The demon kings who survived by luck had very unpleasant expressions. They stared at the big demon cautiously and used their demonic air to probe the big demon. No one dared to move at all. After a long while, the big demon did not move, so someone took the courage and went forward. He then realized that the big demon was really dead. Everyone sighed in relief after knowing that. Most of them had been to the land of infinite demons countless times, and this was the first time they encountered a living big demon. If it was alive for a while more, all of them would be dead now. The situation was getting strange after the big demon died. Chapter 1500 Big Demon 6. The alliances that were formed because of the big demon divided after its death. They now became opponents instead of allies. A few demon kings rolled their eyes and were about to fight for the big demon's body as they were the closest to it. The faces of humans and members of the alien races darkened when they saw the demon king's movement. They immediately dashed forward. However, the moment everyone moved, an intense and horrifying demonic aura suddenly spread out in the surroundings. The demon kings trembled as they sensed the intense and fierce demonic air. This demonic aura was similar to the dead big demons. There was no more greed in the demon king's eyes. They changed their direction and immediately ran away. What's that? The rest were not as sensitive to the demonic air as the demon kings. When they sensed something strange, The demon kings had already disappeared. Suddenly, the sun was covered by a huge mass. Everyone lifted up their heads to see a creature approaching in the air. With the creature hovering above them, no one could see any part of the sky. That's another big demon. Yi Qingtang felt her head explode when she saw the scale of the creature vaguely among the clouds. Barely managing to survive from the last demon, everyone again felt despair when they noticed the big demon hiding in the clouds. The last one was just dead, and now there was another one? They had no clue where this big demon came from. That was the reason why those demon kings disappeared almost instantly. No one dared to escape now, and they all froze at where they were. The shadow stopped right above the dead big demon. Everyone stared at the shadow nervously. A huge head suddenly appeared from the clouds, and before everyone could see its head clearly, it opened its giant mouth and bit onto the back of the dead big demon. Its sharp teeth bit through the hard skin and flash. The moment it took the bite, a huge amount of blood spurted out from the wound. The blood flowed down like a waterfall and formed a river of blood under everyone's feet. The big demon made a deep roar. It lifted the body of the dead big demon and flew into the sky. The giant body was dragged up into the clouds. Blood poured down like rain instantly and landed on everyone's body. The big demon did not seem to be bothered by the rest of them here. It bit the body and flew away. Everyone was soaked in cold sweat as they stared at the disappearing shadow. It seemed that they had just escaped from hell again. The land of infinite demons was extremely dangerous. No one knew how many big demons hid here. It would be a gamble of death or survival if they encountered one. This time, they were lucky that the second big demon was only interested in the body of its own clan member. Otherwise, everyone here combined might not even be enough to fill its mouth. The big demon's ability would level up if they consumed members of their own clan. Everyone here was incomparable with that body, and the big demon might not even notice their presence. Chapter 15:01 Treasures 1. Though everyone wanted to fight for the big demon's body, no one dared to fight with the other big demon. They all shivered in fear as the ground in front of them was covered by a sea of blood. No one wanted to be involved in the fight between big demons. Everyone was disappointed as the big demon's body was gone. However, they were attracted to a shimmering point in the mess. There was a huge palace standing behind the Crush Mountain. The palace was built out of demon bones, which shined under the sunlight. That's the palace of the Frosty Snow Mountain's big demon. The Beast Master's eyes sparkled as it stared at the palace. Before a big demon was about to die, it would bring all its treasures and build a palace with its demonic power. After it passed away, its body would rot into the palace. This would trigger the demonic air in the palace, and the entire structure would sink into the ground, burying it underneath forever. In the past, when people from different clans and forces came to the land of infinite demons to look for big demons, all the big demons there had died a long time ago. Their palaces were all buried under the ground, and it took a large amount of time and energy to look for them. The big demon was chasing and killing everyone, so it was some distance apart from its palace when it died. Its body was then taken away by another big demon, so the mechanism that controlled the movement of the palace was not triggered. Everyone's expression changed instantly. They all rushed towards the palace at the fastest speed without any extra talk. Jiang Sun and Yi Qingtang also followed. However, Yi Qingtang noticed that there were many figures appearing from different directions as she was flying towards the palace. All of them were heading towards the same place as well. There were other powerful figures hiding in the area. Yi Qingtang was shocked, but she did not slow down at all. The palace of the big demon contained all treasures it had in its life. It was a huge temptation to anyone. The palace was too large for them to see its full structure, but it was obvious to tell how many treasures were inside. People from all forces rushed into the palace as fast as they could. It was impossible for one force to own all the treasures, so they could only find and claim the most valuable treasures within the shortest time. Boom! The door of the palace was opened by force. Countless broken bones flew out. About 100 people had entered the palace within the blink of an eye. Yi Qingtang slowed down as Jiang Sun was injured. Though she also desired the treasures, she needed to protect Jiang Sun. But everyone, including the Jiang family, all aimed at the palace. Soon, Yi Qingtang entered the huge palace. The scene in front of them was astonishing. There were mountains of gold and treasure in the palace. Everyone was dazzled by the scene. This is the Eternity Bottle. In shock, the Beastmaster picked up a jade bottle that was about an arm's length. The Eternity Bottle could transform all kinds of water into curing holy water. It could detoxify all poisons and disperse all heretic air. It was really a rare Dharma treasure. Chapter 1502 Treasures 2 The Beastmaster was still in shock after finding the Eternity Bottle. A white-haired elder, who came along with the lady in green, picked up a ring from a pile of diamonds. This ring was not made of silver or gold. There was a diamond that glimmered in 7 colors of light on the ring. The radiances were splendid and attractive. Master, this is... The lady in green took a glimpse at the ring and looked towards the elder with confusion. It's the moon goddess ring. A smile emerged in the elder's eyes. According to the legend, the moon goddess ring contained a trace of the moon goddess power before she passed away. Normal people could not even imagine what power from a goddess contained. If this power was released, it could destroy any mainland in the first domain. If someone decided to wear the ring, they would be nurtured under the power of the moon goddess during cultivation. The effect of that was obvious. The elder wore the ring on his finger under the gaze of a lady in green, but he did not realize that a strange look flashed across her eyes. Besides the Beastmaster and the elder from the second domain, many people found other long-lost Dharma treasure from a few thousand to tens of thousands of years ago. The big demon of the frosty snow mountains had lived for at least 10,000 years. It had taken an incredible amount of treasure in its lifetime. After seeing the treasure the big demon owned, Yi Qingtang understood the reason why people from different forces all rushed here. She scanned through the crowd in front of her and was shocked by what she saw. Besides those who were chased by the big demon, there were many more powerful figures appearing in the hall. There were even people from the second domain. Out of all those people, Yi Qingtang was attracted by a tiny figure. There was a pretty little girl who was about 5 to 6 years old. She had round and big eyes and was dressed in a lilac dress that made her seem more adorable. There were many women following behind the little girl. The women all wore the same type of mask to cover their faces, and they all followed silently behind the girl. It felt a little strange that a little girl would appear here with the rest of the malicious forces. No one would expect there to be any link between the girl and any group here based on her tiny arms and legs. However, no one dared to provoke the innocent little girl. Celestial Fairy from the Purple Palace. Yi Qingtang recognized the girl's identity. The Purple Palace was the most powerful force in the second domain. Even though she appeared to be only 5 or 6, the Celestial Fairy was more than 10,000 years old. Having cultivated a group of heretical techniques when she was young, she was affected by that process and could not grow anymore. The Purple Palace was involved in the battle between the powerful figures from the second domain and the central mainland, so they were famous in the central mainland now. Yi Qingtang looked away and was taken aback by the number of powerful figures here. The little white tiger suddenly jumped out of her arms and seemed to be smelling something. Its round and tiny body dashed into a pile of treasure. Fiend celestial beasts had a better sense of smell and were more sensitive to Dharma artifacts. Yi Qingtang followed the little white tiger secretly while everyone else was digging for treasures. Chapter 1503 Treasures 3 The little white tiger walked through the main hall that was full of treasure and stopped at a dull corner of the hall. There were many jewels and pearls with dazzling brightness, but the little white tiger used its paws to dig a hole in the pile of jewelry. An old and sealed box under all the jewelry appeared in front of Yi Qingtang. There is good stuff inside. I can smell them. The little white tiger touched the box and said confidently. Yi Qingtang's lips twitched as she stared at the little white tiger, who was so proud of itself. But she believed in the little white tiger's decision. She looked around and saw that all the other people were busy digging for treasures, and no one noticed her. She then walked forward and opened the box slowly. As the box was opened, a pungent smell came out of it. The little white tiger immediately jumped backward from a stink. Fuck, how can it stink so much? The little white tiger covered its nose and its mouth, and its eyes were wide open. The little white tiger was not able to detect that smell before it was opened. Tang held her breath and opened the box fully. There were 3 dusty items lying in the box. Besides those, there were many black worms that were as thick as fingers crawling inside. The black worms crawled among each other. It was surprising that they were still alive. They seemed to be invigorated by the air and crawled out of the box one by one. Tang could feel the goosebumps on her body. After all the black worms crawled out of the box, the 3 items that were previously covered by the black worms revealed themselves in front of Tang. Tang opened her eyes wide instantly. There were 3 black Dharma treasures in the box. She had never seen any of these Dharma treasures before, but she could feel the intense aura from them. Tang was shocked by the black Dharma treasure in the middle. She could see a mark that was shining vaguely. The light seemed to be alive as it floated above the Dharma treasure, and from it, Tang could feel a holy aura. This is a mystic artifact. Tang was astonished. From her previous life, she knew that any artifact left behind by God would contain God's breath, and these artifacts were known as mystic artifacts. However, mystic artifacts were so rare in this world. Tang never imagined that she could find a mystic artifact here. However, before Tang could figure out where the mystic artifact was from, she suddenly realized that everyone who was looking for treasures seemed to notice something, and all looked towards the direction she was at. This is bad. Tang was nervous. The stink must have attracted everyone's attention, and the aura on the 3 Dharma treasures also revealed their presence. What interesting treasure did you find? A young voice came from Tang's back. Tang lifted up the box that contained the 3 Dharma treasures almost instinctively. She placed the mystic artifact with God's mark into her space ring secretly. Chapter 1504 Protector 1. When Tang turned around, she realized that the celestial fairy, who had been on the other side of the great hall, had appeared behind her at some point. A bright, innocent smile appeared on the celestial fairy's exquisite little face. Her smiling eyes looked straight at Tang. Besides the celestial fairy, the Jiang family and the ancient Yu clan also sensed the powerful aura and flew over. When Tang looked at the group of powerful cultivators before her, the corner of her mouth twitched beneath her veil. Everyone immediately saw the 2 ancient and mysterious Dharma artifacts in Tang's hands. Everyone present was a renowned, powerful cultivator, and their perception of this type of aura was extremely developed. Thus, they were naturally aware that these 2 Dharma artifacts were extraordinary. At that moment, Jiang Shangyu and the others from the Jiang family were delighted. Ignoring the question of whether they still intended to kill Tang, this item was discovered by a member of their family. It would definitely be beneficial to them. But at that moment, Jiang Shangyu had yet to speak. He was no fool. Right now, many had noticed Tang's 2 Dharma treasures. If he stood forth and proclaimed that Tang was a member of their Jiang family, it might attract the attention of many with ill intentions. Tang knew full well that an innocent person in possession of treasure would be considered guilty. She secretly glanced at the silent group from the Jiang family, and her mouth curled in a cold smile. "Little girl, hand those 2 things over to me if you don't want to die," said the old man who was together with the green-robed girl. He had immediately determined that these 2 Dharma treasures were extraordinary. Hand them to you? What a joke. How can these things be handed to you? An elder from the ancient Yu clan laughed coldly. He immediately planned to seize the 2 Dharma treasures. With that, he gave Tang a chilly look and said, "Our ancient Yu clan will take those 2 Dharma treasures. You better hand them to me, or else everyone present could tell that the grades of these two Dharma treasures definitely exceeded those of other plunder. Even the moon goddess ring could not compare to them. In a moment, everyone had decided to seize the two Dharma treasures. However, there were too many people trying to get hold of it, and they kept each other in check. As a result, no one was in a hurry to act. Yi Qingtang felt gloomy as she looked at the scene before her. She could forget about these two treasures. Everyone present had seen her obtain it, and they would not let her off easily. They would certainly kill her to seize these two items. Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered as she considered the situation. Then, she took the two treasures and walked straight over to the celestial fairy. As everyone looked on in shock, she reached out and offered the two Dharma treasures to the celestial fairy. The celestial fairy could naturally sense the power of these two Dharma treasures. She had intended to kill this girl while everyone else was fighting and obtain the two Dharma treasures. But she did not expect this girl to be so aware of her situation and actively give them to her. "Damn girl, what are you doing?" The old man's face grew grim when he saw what Yi Qingtang was doing. A powerful force suddenly built up in his hand. The seemingly petite and harmless celestial fairy suddenly glared at the old man. Her body was instantly shrouded in a purple glow. The next instant, a suffocating amount of force and pressure suddenly surrounded the old man. Chapter 15:05 Protector 2. Can't you see she's talking to me? A sinister look suddenly appeared on the celestial fairy's pale little face. The old man sensed the aura of oppression from the celestial fairy, and his heart sank. He was also from the second domain. How could he be ignorant of the celestial fairy's power? He might not fear the celestial fairy in a one-on-one fight, but the old man looked at the forces from the purple palace that were behind the celestial fairy. He looked grim, and the force in his hand dissipated. Then, he narrowed his eyes and looked at Yi Qingtang. "Damn girl, if you dare to hand those things to someone else, I will reduce you to ashes." The celestial fairy laughed softly. It was a childish laugh, but it was filled with bone-chilling, murderous intent. "I would like to see as well. Who dares to touch something offered to the purple palace?" The old man's expression turned ugly. The other groups did not look pleased either. Few of the people present had abilities that matched the celestial fairies. Yi Qingtang was naturally well aware of the celestial fairy's abilities. Otherwise, she would not have handed the two Dharma treasures to her. She certainly could not hold on to these two Dharma treasures. No matter which side she gave it to, she would offend the rest. She might as well choose the strongest side and hope that that would keep her safe. Anyway, she had already secretly hidden the best artifact. She might as well offer up the remaining two since they were so difficult to handle. The celestial fairy looked coldly at everyone. The threat in her eyes was clear. The group from the Jiang family looked displeased when they saw that Yi Qingtang had actually handed the two Dharma treasures to the celestial fairy. I have long heard of the celestial fairy's fame. I believe that only the fairy can use these two Dharma treasures. Yi Qingtang smiled at the celestial fairy and smoothly flattered her. A brilliant smile appeared on the celestial fairy's young face, like a child delighted with a new toy. But the oppressive force she had released just now prevented anyone present from viewing her as a child. "Little girl, you're so good at flattery. Since you're so obedient, I will treat you well." The celestial fairy took the two Dharma treasures and looked around with an intimidating expression. She slowly spoke. "If anyone dares to attack you within this palace, it will be tantamount to attacking my purple palace." These words were a warning for everyone. As long as Yi Qingtang remained in this palace, the celestial fairy would protect her. However, this protection was limited. Once Yi Qingtang left the palace, the celestial fairy would have nothing to do with her. When Yi Qingtang heard the celestial fairy's words, she inwardly called her a sly old fox. Everyone understood the celestial fairy's meaning. Even though some were not satisfied, they were unwilling to make trouble with the purple palace. After all, there were still plenty of Dharma treasures in this palace. If they fought the purple palace at this point, they might suffer losses instead. With that, everyone stopped quibbling. However, the old man swept Yi Qingtang a vicious look before he left. Even the group from the Jiang family shot Yi Qingtang disgusted looks. Yi Qingtang continued to smile, but she writhed inwardly. Although she had obtained a mystical artifact, she had certainly offended many people. Chapter 1506 Protector 3 Yi Qingtang secretly heaved a sigh of relief as she saw the crowd slowly disperse. At that moment, Jiang Sun returned to her side, looking worried. Tang Tang, what happened just now? How did you find something so deadly? Jiang Sun's expression was filled with distress. Of course, it was good to have found a Dharma treasure in the main hall, but Yi Qingtang was just too weak. Even if she found some treasure, she would be unable to retain it for her own use, and it would bring disaster on her instead. Although Yi Qingtang had obtained the Celestial Fairy's protection just now, she had offended all the other groups. The Celestial Fairy could not possibly protect her all the time. When they had obtained enough treasures, the people from the Purple Palace would leave. Then, even if Yi Qingtang remained hidden in the palace, the Celestial Fairy would certainly not bother with her. Yi Qingtang laughed wryly. How could she have known that the box would contain something so conspicuous? Jiang Sun frowned slightly, then pulled Yi Qingtang into a corner. Tang Tang, you cannot remain in this palace. They haven't acted yet. I will seize the opportunity to get out of here. Once the people from the Purple Palace left, those who hated Yi Qingtang would probably attack her. Jiang Shangyu and the others wanted Yi Qingtang dead as soon as possible, so they certainly would not protect her either. Why not sneak away when everyone was busy looking for treasure? Jiang Sun's injuries had improved greatly after she rested. She could not bear to leave Yi Qingtang alone in the land of infinite, so she thought of a way to get Yi Qingtang out of there. Yi Qingtang naturally grasped the merits of her plan. With that, Jiang Sun looked around. When she saw that no one was paying attention to them, she and Yi Qingtang fled for the palace through the main door. But their movements were detected by Yi Yu, who had been watching Yi Qingtang's every move from a secret spot. Yi Yu immediately sought out Jiang Qin and Jiang Shangyu and told them about Yi Qingtang's escape. That Yi Qingtang is truly a traitorous creature. She is a member of the Jiang family, but when she obtained such a wonderful Dharma treasure, she did not hand it over to fifth grand uncle. She has no thought for the prestige of the Jiang family. Jiang Qin laughed coldly and glanced at Jiang Shangyu. Jiang Shangyu looked very displeased. He narrowed his eyes and glanced at Jiang Qin and Jiang Shun, who were standing next to him. He secretly nodded to them. Jiang Qin and Jiang Shun instantly grasped Jiang Shangyu's meaning. They summoned some Jiang family members and left the palace in pursuit. Not long after Jiang Sun left the palace with Yi Qingtang in tow, she sensed someone approaching from behind. Jiang Sun looked back to see Jiang Qin, Jiang Shun, and the others rapidly nearing. Jiang Sun frowned, but when she realized that they were Jiang family members, she slowed down a little. Aunt, fifth grand uncle wants you to return immediately. The various forces are still fighting for the Dharma treasures. If you leave now, the Jiang family will find treasure at a slower rate than the others. Jiang Qin looked at Jiang Sun accusingly. There are so many of you, aren't there enough? Jiang Sun asked casually. How can there be enough? Aunt, if you don't want to make fifth grand uncle unhappy, you had better hurry back with us now. Jiang Qin tried to persuade her. Jiang Sun frowned slightly. She felt that something was amiss, but before she could gather her wits, Jiang Shun, who had been silently standing there, seized the opportunity. He suddenly attacked Yi Qingtang, who was behind Jiang Sun. Jiang Sun snapped out of her trance and hurriedly blocked Jiang Shun's ambush. Jiang Shun, what are you doing? Chapter 1507 Hunt Down 1 Jiang Shun laughed coldly. Yi Qingtang found a high-level Dharma artifact, but gave it to someone else. She should be punished in accordance with our family rules. Aunt, if you don't stay out of this, don't blame me for being discourteous. Jiang Sun's expression immediately darkened. She wanted to rain curses down upon Jiang Shun's head. Under those circumstances, Yi Qingtang would certainly have died if she did not hand the items over. The Jiang family not only did not step forward to protect her, but were now attacking her instead. At that moment, Jiang Sun understood that Jiang Shun and the others were only looking for an excuse to kill Yi Qingtang. Jiang Sun suddenly spoke softly to Yi Qingtang, who was behind her. "Tang Tang, you'd better go." With that, Jiang Sun suddenly attacked Jiang Shun and the others while Yi Qingtang turned and fled without a word. When Jiang Shun and the others saw that Yi Qingtang was escaping, their expressions darkened. Jiang Shun met Jiang Sun's attack, then gestured to Jiang Qin and the rest. Jiang Qin and the others immediately gave chase. Jiang Qin led a group of Jiang family disciples and chased her. As the distance between Yi Qingtang and them narrowed, a cold, malicious gleam flashed across Jiang Qin's eyes. "Let's see where you can run to." Jiang Qin's lips arched in a chilly smile. She increased her speed and was just about to deal a blow to Yi Qingtang's back when a blinding beam of light shot forth from behind Jiang Qin. Jiang Qin was startled. She sensed an immense aura surround her, coming from the void. Before she had time to look up, the beam of light shot past her and flew directly towards a nearby Yi Qingtang. Boom! A huge explosion rang in their ears. Jiang Qin looked up at the void in shock, only to see the old man from the second domain. At some point, he had caught up with them, and now he was looking down at Yi Qingtang from his vantage point. The latter had been struck by the beam of light. His eyes were filled with cold amusement. Jiang Qin was shocked but delighted. Yi Qingtang must have annoyed this powerful cultivator from the second domain when she handed the 2 Dharma treasures to the celestial fairy. But this person was even more powerful than their 5th uncle. Yi Qingtang would probably be killed this time without them needing to lift a finger. As Jiang Qin waited to confirm Yi Qingtang's death, Yi Qingtang was surrounded by the beam of light that had struck her. Yi Qingtang was not spurting blood under the blinding light, as Jiang Qin had expected. Instead, her figure flickered and then disappeared. When the light disappeared, there was no trace of blood where Yi Qingtang had been standing. "What's going on?" Jiang Qin's eyes widened. She had personally witnessed Yi Qingtang being struck. Why did she disappear? An illusion. The old man from the second domain, who was in the void, saw the image vanish before his eyes. A malicious look slowly surfaced in his eyes. Then, he vanished from the void with a flash. "Aunt Qin, what happened to Yi Qingtang?" A Jiang family disciple who had accompanied Jiang Qin could not understand what he was seeing. Jiang Qin was no fool. That Jiang Sun. I didn't expect her to be able to create an illusion of Yi Qingtang. I thought it was strange. Jiang Qin's eyes narrowed slightly. At that moment, she finally understood that the Yi Qingtang they had been pursuing was an illusion made out of spirit energy. Chapter 15:08 Hunt down. Jiang Sun was wondering where the little white tiger, which Yi Qingtang always carried in her arms, had gone to. With Yi Qingtang's ability, she couldn't possibly have gotten far. Spread out and search for her. "I must have her head today," Jiang Qin said with a cold laugh. "But Aunt Qin, hasn't the powerful cultivator from the second domain already gone to look for Yi Qingtang? Why don't we quietly await developments?" Someone suggested. But Jiang Qin glared coldly at him. "Didn't you understand what I said? I want Yi Qingtang dead. The land of infinite demons is so large. If the powerful cultivator from the second domain cannot find her, won't she be able to escape?" Everyone finally nodded in comprehension. They divided into groups and continued to search. While everyone was searching for Yi Qingtang had already flown several miles away. Fuck, those Jiang family members were really up to no good. The little white tiger in Yi Qingtang's arms cursed softly. Yi Qingtang and Jiang Sun had just left the main hall when the little white tiger sensed many auras pursuing them, and so it warned Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang knew from Jiang Lang and his wife that Jiang Sun could create illusions. After a hurried discussion with Jiang Sun, she allowed Jiang Sun to use spirit energy to create an illusion that looked like her, to follow Jiang Sun. Then, Even if the Jiang family caught them, they would not dare to do anything to Jiang's son. She herself could seize the opportunity to sneak away. This time, they brought me to the land of infinite demons in order to get rid of me. Yi Qingtang laughed softly. She was fully prepared for Jiang Qin and the others. Perhaps she could continue to depend on Jiang's son, but now Jiang's son was injured, and Jiang Shangyu had no intention of protecting Jiang's son. Yi Qingtang was afraid that Jiang Shun and the others would kill Jiang's son if they were forced to do so. Thus, Yi Qingtang had chosen to do things this way, firstly as a delaying tactic, and secondly to avoid involving Jiang's son. The land of infinite demons was incredibly vast, and it would be no easy matter for someone to catch her. Although Yi Qingtang was prepared, she did not let her guard down. She flew swiftly with the little white tiger, hoping to get as far away from danger as possible. But before she had gotten far, she sensed a strong oppressive force floating about her head. Yi Qingtang hurriedly looked up at the void and saw that the old man from the second domain, who had accompanied the green-robed girl, flying a short distance behind her. What the hell? Yi Qingtang had not expected the old man from the second domain to chase after her. He must have greatly resented not being able to obtain the 2 Dharma treasures. Yi Qingtang's earlier plan was to distract the group from the Jiang family. She did not expect that this even more powerful fellow would be so desperate to want her life. Her expression darkened, and she quickly scanned the mountains and the forest. Boom! A blinding beam of light suddenly fell from the sky and charged towards Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang flew aside, narrowly avoiding this deadly strike. I would like to see how the Purple Palace can protect you now that you have left the palace. The old man looked disdainfully at Yi Qingtang from his vantage point. How dare an insect from the 8th heaven of arcane supremacy embarrass him? Today, he would make her long for death. Cold sweat popped up on Yi Qingtang's forehead. From the side of her eyes, she secretly scanned her surroundings for something. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.